Good day YouTube. Today I just want to quickly touch on some of the things that you should start to observe before you commence a PvP battle. Right, very typically when you meet somebody that you're going to duel or you're going to ambush somebody, you would draw your crosshair over his character and then you start to see his name, the CP, as well as the Alliance War rank. So ignore the CP because Champions Points means a lot of different things. It could mean that he's been playing Elder Scrolls Online for very long and a bulk of the time is spent in PvE content. He could be farming dungeon every day. That explains the high CP. Then it also means that a person like that would be quite clueless in PvP typically, right? It may not. But pay more attention to this little logo below the CP, which is the Alliance War rank. This directly confers to you the information how much experience this person has in PvP related content, be it in Battlegrounds, in Cyrodiil, or Imperial City. Right now, a high Alliance War rank does not necessarily mean that he's going to be a very difficult person to beat, but it is probably the most telling sign, because you get Alliance points when you capture keeps, when you win Battlegrounds, or during mid-year mayhem when you're very active. It's a good time to get a lot of Alliance points, right? So I would just like to go through briefly when I suss out a character. If he's like the rank is between 1 to 5, right? Like citizen, volunteer, recruit, some between 1 to 5. Basically, I would just go for it. It typically means this guy would be carrying a lot of Telva. It's his first time in Imperial City. He would probably be easy to beat. Right? Obviously, there are exceptions to this. It could be somebody playing his third or fourth or fifth character, starting a new class, and he's actually a very skilled player. Right? You take a gamble. Then when it comes to the sergeants, it could be a 50-50 situation where some sergeants are really actually pretty good. They have been farming their first character and this is probably their second or third character, so some of them can be quite difficult to beat. The moment you advance to lieutenant or captain material, it usually means that it's going to be a drawn out battle. That means this guy has some level of experience in PvP combat. So get yourself ready, be prepared. It may be a long drawn battle. Of course, there are also situations where I met captains that are pushovers, rollovers, and a recruit that is incredibly difficult to beat. Right? And as the rank goes further up, you get the Praetorians, the Palatines, and eventually to the Warlords. Beating a Grand Warlord, of course, is something that you can feel a little bit proud of yourself because that's the highest rank that you can go. But typically, sometimes I manage to beat Grand Overlords, I think because some of these players have not been playing for a while and they could be using set that is no longer meta. Like a while ago, I think I beat a Grand Warlord and he's using bow arrow and I believe Savage Werewolf, which was meta like last year and so not meta right now. So I think there could be situations like that. Pick your poison and just go for it, right? Myself, I am a 2-star Warlord and I lose many times in a day, right? I've lost to sergeants, I've lost to captains, lieutenants, Praetorians, etc. So there's no hard and fast 100% rule to it, but this can be quite a good gauge for you to start to estimate how the battle will go. Now, the other more important thing I feel is to observe what class your opponent is. I feel that is actually more crucial, more telling than the Alliance War rank itself, because certain classes, as we know, are just more compatible for PvP play. So I think a lot of other content creators have covered this. Your Dragon Knights and your Wardens is going to give you a very long, lengthy, very sweaty combat. These people, they are like the tank metas, right? Very hard to kill. Once the Dragon Knight starts to CC you, and when his corrosive armor comes on, the battle just keeps on dragging. Right? Every time I thought I'm going to give a final killing blow to the Warden, his Arctic Wind, Arctic Blast, whatever thing you call it, just comes out and he regenerates like nobody's business. And Sorcerers used to be a pushover in the last couple of patches. They were quite easy to be dealt with, especially Magical Sorcerers. I play as a Stem Sock, so I like to target Magical Sorcerers, right? But as of this recent patch, their shields are actually quite formidable. It's getting really hard to one-shot a Sorcerer. I can catch him by surprise, and it looks like he's about to die, and then the shields come up, then it becomes a 50-50 battle to see whose resource lasts longer. right? My own personal experience using my stamina crit build, I find that Templars are the easiest meat in the market right now. I kill Templars quite easily. They succumb to the burst that I have to offer in PvP combat. I rarely meet Necro. Either that or I see them and I can't identify them as Necro. I don't see a lot of Necro nowadays. I think this class is totally busted. The moment they took out the bomb attribute of the class, so very few people play as Necro now. They used to be pretty good tanks, so might make a comeback. And then of course the irritating Nightblades. Nightblades, when they come in with their incapacitating strike, basically if you can tank that strike, you have a good chance to kill the Nightblade. And when it comes to Nightblade, you don't get to choose to fight the Nightblade. The Nightblade choose to fight you, because most of the time they are hiding and you can't see them. So it's pretty self-explanatory. And then finally the new class, the Arcanist. Arcanist is, if you can survive the lag when you fight an Arcanist, then you can beat him. It's as simple as that. The class itself, right, doesn't feel like it is overpowered, but when you play an Arcanist, the gameplay just lacks the way that it does when Mara's Balm was introduced, when Dark Convergence was introduced, when Oaken Soul was introduced. There's something wrong with the game. Usually it requires the next patch where a nerf of some sort would be introduced, and then things will be working as per normal again. My conspiracy theory is that all these lags is just to get people to buy the latest DLC lah. I mean, that's my opinion. You can agree or disagree. You can comment below. Last but not least, I'd like to touch on the vampire and the werewolf. If you see an enemy vampire, obviously if it's in mist form, or you can see the ultimate being used, which is quite easily identifiable. Just be prepared that this guy, long drawn out battle, if you have some fire related skills, to use them because they are vulnerable to it. Other than that, vampires have very weak resource recovery. So just try to make use of that when you're fighting a vampire by not spamming too much and making sure that you outlast him in terms of resource usage. When it comes to werewolf, if it's a solo werewolf and he's of like low ranking, maybe sergeant and below, I feel there's a good chance you can take him out, just go for it. But a pack of werewolves are extremely formidable. Like if you have 3 to 4 werewolves together, if you see them, you run. You do like the rest of us, just streak away and stay safe, right? Okay, I think that just about wraps up what I have to say for today's video. I hope some of this information being thrown out like this can actually be useful for some of you all as you approach a PvP battle. Feel free to comment on anything that you wish to disagree. Definitely, I have a lot of blind sides and prejudice when it comes to PvP combat. There are some things I could have gotten wrong totally. Do feel free to point it out and share so that the community can learn. Hope to see you in Tamriel. Everybody, have a good day.